yours? I'm sorry.
It's Glenn Costales.
Hello, Glenn. How are you?
Hey, Mark. How you doing, sir?
Good. What's on your mind? What's going on in your world?
Not much. Just calling about my website, CTFairBet.com.
Ah, there you go. And?
It's, I used to work at Mohegan Sun for 18 years, and trying to pull the curtain back on the casino business.
So, by all means, let's do that. What's behind the curtain?
Well, you know what? I got into various different things, as far as like tax rate and, different things that a lot of people don't know as far as, how we're regulated or how we're not regulated, upward mobility for employees and, a lot of intricate things that when people, example, the casinos in Connecticut pay 25% on slot revenue, nothing on table games. You go to Rhode Island, they pay 71.5% on slot revenue, and I think 18% on table games.
So what's the problem with that? I understand what you're saying, but isn't that just more effective management of the situation in Connecticut than you have in Rhode Island?
Oh, no. The people of Connecticut, as far as the taxpayers, they're not getting their fair share.
What is their fair share, and what is their contribution to the common weal? What would be a fair rate for the citizens of Connecticut?
As far as the casinos to pay?
Right.
Okay, honestly, put it this way. If you went to Bridgeport, you could easily get a 50% tax rate. No problem. That the casinos would pay the state.
So who's the villain in this arrangement? Who's the bad? If somebody's responsible for this, who is it?
The governor.
Donald Malloy or Lowell Weichert?
Weicker.
Yeah, okay, but he's dead, isn't he?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure if he is or not, but he's definitely not the governor anymore. So what is the solution to this inequity?
Whoever gets they're trying to put one in Bradley, what I understand. Here's a classic example. In Massachusetts, they paid a licensing fee of $85 million up front that goes to the state.
Right.
And then they pay, I'm not sure what Mass is paying. Let me check my site real fast. Massachusetts is paying a high tax rate. I'm not sure. I'm just bringing it up real fast.
Sure.
So the big thing, like, if the two tribes go to Bradley Airport, they're not paying a licensing fee.
Now, has that got something to do with them being a tribal organization?
No.
It's just a deal that they've arranged for themselves.
Sweetheart deal.
But can you blame the organization for availing itself to a sweetheart deal because when the government doesn't do a very good job at policing its own regulation?
Well, my issue is I'm an ex-manager there, and about a year before I left, I got the domain name CTFairBet because what I saw around me, all my friends losing their jobs and the divorces, the nervous breakdowns, the heart attacks, and suicide, and decimation of people's lives. And I was like, somebody's got to say something about this. And so, finally, after about 8 months after I left, I got this site together, and me and some guys that been in the business, I've been in the business over 30 years, and I had some people help me from Atlantic City just to work on this. So as far as like the airport's concerned, they should bring an outside casino outside of the tribes, because one tribe owes $2.5 billion,
right?
The tribe owes $2 billion.
So there's almost $5 billion in debt between the two tribes?
Oh yeah, they're not liquid at all. So why are they being rewarded for gross mismanagement? And in the meantime, both properties, I shouldn't say, I don't know anything about Foxwood really, Mark. I'm talking out of line. Only thing I know about is Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
And they're firing all the full-time employees, and managers like myself they're almost all gone. All the pit bosses, they're all gone unless you're tribal. So, especially if you're over 50, we're all gone.
So what's happening? Who's filling the void if you guys are being eliminated?
Oh, everybody's part-time. Before there used to be one pit boss for each pit. Now there's one pit boss for 3 pits and 4 pits. But you got to realize it's unregulated gaming. There's nobody on property regulating. It's all self-regulated.
Who's supposed to be regulating?
That's just how Weicker set it up.
No, but I mean, when he set it up, who did he envision doing the regulation if it's not the people on site?
Before, I guess there was, he always set it up where, well, first and foremost, there used to be the state police on property, and they kicked out the state police. So now the tribes basically have their own police. And which is, you got to realize, if you go to Twin Rivers or if you go to Vegas, there's a person from the state. If there's a questionable call on a crap table or a blackjack game, somebody from the state is going to be the buffer or the go-between, or, in layman terms, a referee.
Right.
When you go to the casino at either tribal properties, the person regulating is
the
tribal employee.
Right.
Call it, the gaming commission, but they're getting paid by the tribe.
Sure.
So,
ever since Foxwoods first opened and then Mohegan Sun came kind of on its heels there, that has always struck me as it's a candy jar. Everybody's sticking their hand in, trying to get what they can, and the tribe takes care of itself. There were the people who financed it from the get-go. The state wants a piece of it. Everybody sees it as kind of a money tree. And that's where you have all these kind of peculiar little, the state police are involved, then they're not involved. It's, I don't know. It seems like an organization that isn't particularly well organized.
Oh, no, it's getting worse when the money gets, you got to realize, I'll give you, the one thing I wanted to answer, I didn't have the figures in front of me, Mark. Massachusetts pays 25% on gross gaming revenue. So no matter what goes into the boxes, they're going to get 25 of gross gaming revenue, table games and slots. The state of Connecticut, the taxpayers get nothing on table games, and they get 25% of the 25% of the table slot revenue.
So how do you fix that, though? I mean, I don't see.
The only way you can bring it in, me personally, I think the state of Connecticut is $1.2 billion in debt.
Yeah.
Me personally, you can't dictate morality. People are going to gamble.
Sure.
They're going to smoke cigarettes. They're going to drink beer. They're going to gamble. It's a sin tax. So, me personally, I would put it in Bridgeport. I could a gaming license in Massachusetts was $85 million.
Yeah.
That the casino would pay. I would charge $150 million for a license in Bridgeport, and charge 50% tax on slot revenue, and charge 10% on table games.
But wouldn't that just send the Bridgeport operation over to New Rochelle and the airport operation up into Springfield? Wouldn't they just leave the state?
Well, I think South has already been busted up pretty good. As far as, I think South is pretty saturated. North, you got New York and North Jersey, you're talking about 15, 18 million people.
Yeah.
So as long as they don't build these monstrosity of casinos and have phenomenal overhead, you're going to make it. Fox and Mohegan Sun, they just overbuilt, and you're never going to use that space. So if you build accordingly and don't saddle yourself with so much debt, people are always going to gamble. They've been doing it since the beginning of time.
Right.
So I just think, there's the rate that Connecticut is paying. Like, you look at, here's a quick one. Pennsylvania, 55% tax rate. Delaware, 60%. Maryland, 67%.
Right.
I mean, some of the tax rates are astronomical. But the other thing is, if you bring in like Wynn, MGM, Harris, they got stockholders, and if it's a state gaming commission, there's no hanky-panky, and there's going to be oversight. Right now, there's no oversight.
Well, listen, Glenn, I'm afraid I got to cut you off because we're up against a break, but you bring up some very interesting points, and we will be following your progress with great interest.
Hey, it's an honor talking to you, and thank you for your time, sir.